Prime Minister Mark Carney has been busy in Europe this week, first attending the EU summit, followed by the NATO summit.
You're here among friends. That is very important to us. We have an excellent partnership, two strong democracies bound by historic ties and connected by a trade partnership that is dynamic, fair, and open through CETA. I think it is time to go to the next level, to step up the intensity of our partnership. We do not only want to reaffirm today our partnership and friendship, but also reshape it. And there are lots of topics from security of supply chains to critical raw materials, from digital services to artificial intelligence. We will sign a security and defense partnership agreement. This is the most comprehensive we've ever concluded. So the short message is, we know we can count on you and you can count on us.
Merci, Madame la Présidente, Monsieur le Président. Now we put some of what we discussed at the G7, what we have worked on over the years, into practice with the security and defense partnership. Ursula, it's crucial. It's crucial for Canada, but I think it also shows a way forward to the world. And the breadth of the ambition, but also the practical implementation of our partnership for the future is fundamental to the future of Canada. And if I may put it in one direction, of course, the Union is, under your leadership, has been moving to an ever closer union. We look forward to moving to an ever closer partnership with the European Union.
Well, if you think about it, Gary, there are countries in Europe that do not have Canada's GDP levels. I mean, sometimes more population than we have, but they're not necessarily reaching our GDP levels. Yet they're still committing to the existing NATO quotas and the new one coming up in 2035. They're going to pay for it somehow. Is it going to be through new innovation, new industry in their countries? I don't know. But what I think, Gary, is, we talked a little bit about it last week. We're all faced with living in a very, very new world. And I mean, no one can argue against that. It's an extremely new and very, very dangerous world that we're living in, and a lot of unpredictability. When's the next conflict going to happen? What is the United States going to be doing with this conflict from one day to the next? We just don't know. And, we talked about it last week that, Canada, following Prime Minister Carney's lead, we have to be more self-sufficient in terms of our defense policies and being able to arm our soldiers, first of all, and second of all, to align ourselves and create military alliances with someone we can depend on and trust, because that's kind of gone in terms of what can we trust the United States to do or not to do when the chips are actually down.
When you caught the European Union Commissioner, she was very, very quick to point out in that clip that we can rely on you and you can rely on us.
Yep.
Really driving that home. And really, this is actually, it establishes a permanent framework for joint security and defense cooperation, and covering everything from cyber, space, maritime security, crisis response, military mobility, hybrid threats, and foreign interference. And it commits to annual defense and security dialogues and collaborative support for the Ukraine. Now, what it does do very quickly is open up access to the European Union Safe Fund. That opens negotiations for Canada to access the EU's Safe Joint Defense Procurement Fund. And that's estimated at $239 billion Canadian dollars. Canada is the first country in the Americas to gain this level of access. And once a technical agreement is completed, Canadian defense firms will be eligible to bid on EU-funded defense contracts. Projects may involve joint procurement with EU partners and partial non-EU sourcing of up to 35% for some items. And Canada can also participate in EU programs to co-develop and co-produce military equipment.
And one of the things I picked up in what the commissioner was saying, and what Prime Minister Carney was saying was, opening up opportunities to develop technologies together and build each other's technologies. That drives right into this whole F-35, and if I believe Boeing is the one that's manufacturing that. That was a clear shot right across the bow of Boeing, if more, and the United States, if anything else, where, wow, we have this new agreement between Canada and Europe, right in the middle of Canada's commitment to. They've committed to 16 F-35s contractually, with an understanding they're going to go up to 88 aircraft. You know what? We talked about this before. They've got the 16. This opens up tremendous employment opportunities and just really expanding the industry, the manufacturing industry as it pertains to aircraft manufacturing. So, where going with an organization like Saab for their grip and ease, where they will actually have these units built in Canada by Canadians. And it's none of this proprietary stuff where you can't do what you want with your airplane unless you ask permission from the manufacturing country to do upgrades as you want them. Like both you and I know, the F-35s are basically I'm sure there's a kill switch somewhere because we can't do anything without the American military's permission to upgrade this or try that. So why would we want something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I heard that, and I'm thinking right off the bat to the F-35s. We've talked about this before. You know what? We committed to 16. We'll pay for your 16, and we'll sell them someplace. I'm sure we can find someplace in the Middle East that'll buy them very quickly. And just get rid of them, and then invest in work with Saab, build these things in Canada. It'll allow us to. I'm not going to say a military superpower, but a military that can take care of its own in itself. It would be something that would make perfect sense to me. I'd rather see that built here by Canadians and buying stuff out of the United States, which at some point may just shut itself up when we really need it to work.